Alright, this is Ubaid on behalf of V Electronics, and in this video we're going to explore in depth the gaps relevant to your service quality. Okay, so starting with your knowledge gap that we talked about in the last video. When it comes to your knowledge gap, okay, this is the difference between what the customers expect and what the company thinks the customer expect. Okay, so difference between what consumers expect, what consumers expect, and what the company thinks consumers expect. All right, so say for example, you book an airline, and as a customer, your expectation of the airline is to have your luggage, for example, your bags delivered promptly and without any damage. Okay, so no cargo damage. Okay, however, it turns out that the management thinks that your expectation is of a low fare. Okay, and they reduce the fare for that reason. They give you a discounted price. Okay, and they try to make sure that the staff and the employees on the airplane, the air hostess and whatnot, okay, they're friendly, polite, and they offer you the service that you expect. Okay, however, you're more concerned about your luggage because you've got precious cargo in your luggage, as a result of which there's a gap between what you expect and what the airlines expect, or what the airlines think that you expect. Okay, so your expectations versus what the management thinks your expectations are. Okay, that's the difference between, or this difference is called knowledge gap. All right, now, say for example, you're a telecommunication company, okay, and you're trying to offer your customers, okay, the best plan they can get in the market. Not to mention, you're also trying to offer your customers a lot of different features, okay, as part of that plan. Okay, and this is what you think the customers will expect when they buy your plan. Okay, however, okay, on the other side, when customer calls in to buy a plan, they also expect prompt and efficient customer support. Okay, this is something they might not get from that telecommunication company because, okay, of the waiting time, okay, because of the inexperienced, okay, customer support service on the other side, okay, so on and so forth. So this could be because of a number of reasons. All right, so this has to do with, okay, your knowledge gap. All right, next time you catch a taxi cab, for example, okay, your expectation as a customer would be to get you from point A to point B, okay, at the lowest fare possible. Okay, however, the taxi cab might be concerned about giving you a tour instead, okay, of the entire place. Okay, they're probably concerned about, or they probably think that you want to get to as many places within that city, as many as possible, so that way they try to arrange some kind of a tour for you to go around. Okay, so this is not something that the customer expects. Okay, however, this is what the taxi cab thinks, or the taxi cab management team thinks that the customer might expect from you. Okay, so this has to do with the knowledge gap. Now, apart from that, you also have policy gap. Okay, what exactly is policy gap? So let me write this down over here. So this is policy gap. So when it comes to your policy gap, this is the difference between the management's perception of the customer needs and the translation of what they're understanding into service delivery policies and standards. Okay, so this is difference between the perception, difference between perception of needs and translation. Perception. This is translation into service delivery policies and standards. All right, so this has to do with your policy gap. Okay, so say for example, you are a telecommunication company. Okay, and the management for that telecommunication company, let's say you're the lead supervisor, okay, for customer support. Okay, now the lead supervisor, might tell their staff, might hold a company meeting, might tell their staff, to answer the phone as quickly as possible to reduce the waiting time. Okay, so that the customer does not get frustrated, does not hang up, and so that they don't lose the customer. Okay, however, the staff is not being specific enough. Okay, they don't have a matrix where they've set a certain time for how quickly the customer support team must answer the phone. As a result of which, instead of answering the phone in less than 20 minutes, the customer support team, the waiting time to get your phone calls answered would be less than 40 minutes, more than 20 minutes. Okay, so the idea here is, you're not specific enough. Okay, you haven't set a matrix, you haven't set a standard specific enough for your management, for your team, or your customer support, in this case, your customer support team, to follow. Okay, so this has to do with your policy gap. All right, now apart